Welcome back to Inside the Wolf's Den with your hosts, Shawn and Joni Wolfswinkel. Today, we've got another episode Inside the Wolf's Den, and we're actually going to be talking about innovation and disruption in the business world, right? Unleashing the power of business transformation.
That sounds bigger than it really is going to be. But no, stay with us. It's going to be good. We also wanted to just quickly, before we jump into it, we appreciate everybody that listens to the show. We appreciate the feedback we get. And if you can know anybody that would be interested in what we have to offer and share, please share it. Please like it. It really helps our ratings. We don't advertise or do anything to spread the message, but other than we just need you to spread the message. So please share it and like it if you feel like it's beneficial. And if you know somebody that could benefit from it, please share it. So,
yes.
But let's get into it. So, I mean, I guess why we were thinking about this whole topic was just we live in very turbulent times. We live in technology is just changing rapidly. Yeah. Everything changes so quickly, so rapidly, faster than sometimes I think we can keep up. But so we want to talk about like how do we as a company and in our companies, how do we adopt change? How do we
embrace it? What's
the culture that we foster in it? And then we're going to talk about, even with all that change and all that innovation, some real practical tips of just that we think you need to focus on.
Absolutely.
So let's get into it. So talk a little bit, Joni, about change, how we approach it. Do we accept it? Do we, as a company, in our culture and our leadership, what's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, well, so you and I, for sure, I mean, we've always been the type to embrace change, right? Mm-hmm. And attack it. I mean, best example is 2008 when everything was changing so rapidly. We got into, the business world and people are freaking out. Oh my gosh, it's coming back. What happened in the 80s, the recession's here, right? And everybody's freaking out. Mm-hmm. And so rather than us freaking out about it, we decided we're going to go ahead and take matters into our own hands. Yeah, we can't retail as much as we used to, as quickly as we used to. So we went ahead and started our turnkey model, right? And so
that was a big pivot.
Yeah, that was a huge pivot. And I mean, had we have not made that decision to change and to pivot, we probably wouldn't be in business today. Right.
Well, we wouldn't be in the property management.
We definitely wouldn't be in property management. But I mean, we might have decided, you know what, the real estate's not for us, right? Yeah. And been out of the game.
Yeah. So the other one that now that you bring that up too, was in 2015 when we pivoted into our turnkey company, pivoted into new construction. And we've built hundreds of homes since then. But that was a game changer as well, because we went from probably, 60 homes a year, 50, 60 homes a year to 161 year, I think, just because of the new construction. So,
and each time I remember people saying, you're crazy. Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? But I mean, we had to take that risk, right?
So we've always adopted it. I think, and some was funny back in the day, or it still happens, probably still today. We're more aware of it. But when Joni and I would go to a mastermind event, we would always come home with like the greatest new technology, innovation, business concept and want to implement it right away. So like, I think our team but
at first they were like, oh gosh, like what are you doing now? Like almost like they're like
eyes rolls every time we come back from a seminar. But
they've learned to embrace it as well, right? And correct. I think that's part of us being resilient too. Whenever there's a hurricane or something tragic happens, in our world, our team is able to adapt to it pretty quickly because we put them in that position.
Correct. And one of our core values is kind of like having grit, appreciating the challenges and overcoming them. And so that I think you got to have that mindset, that culture. So it's built into our core values about change, about adapting, and something that we do with, when we read books within our company. But a lot of the reason we do that and the books we choose is about that mindset shift, right. About the adapting to change, about, evolving as a human and improving. We're always big on improving ourselves like 1% every day. And so, but that's the culture we've built And we do that because we know business is going to change. We know the business landscape, the economy, everything's going to be constantly changing. And you want your team to be able to adapt and be open to that. And it's not easy.
No, and it's scary at times. And I'm not going to say it's not, because it is, right? But I think that, you don't have to be afraid of it. I think we all know that with change comes opportunity and comes growth.
Correct.
Right.
So, I mean, we haven't been always the best at implementing new things. We're constantly innovating things.
Or we implement them when not like having a plan or a framework. We're like, oh, let's just dive into something, right? Without actually piloting it or testing it to make sure it's going to work.
Correct. So we've learned a lot over the years. We're not. There's times that we probably should have moved slower than faster, but at the same time, some of the times we've moved really fast, it's really been to our benefit and we've done well. And then there's other times that it didn't turn out so well.
Right.
Like one example, we probably should have investigated the softwares that we were, one of the softwares we're going to try to, we had, when our team logged in, they had like 7 apps open, or 7 different browsers, because that's all the different softwares we used, external softwares.
Right.
And so we really tried to combine all those into, get them into maybe 1 or 2 softwares that we really wanted to operate out of. But in doing so, we had to pick a very robust system to operate out of. And we picked one that was cost effective, that we probably should have done more piloting, testing, and all that before we just jumped right in.
Right.
And we learned the hard way.
And as a result of it, we spent thousands and thousands of dollars developing the software.
Hundreds of thousands.
And with hundreds of thousands.
With employees' costs and all that. Yeah.
And it didn't work.
Yeah. And so, but you live and learn, right? And then you don't know and then also technology changes so quickly.
Right.
And then a product that wasn't necessarily available at the time we chose this software became available a couple of years later, where they had improved their software and now they were the right choice for us.
Right.
And
so had we just stayed put a little longer and just been patient with it,
we might have, and I think that's something you should always be studying, is also the softwares you're using, the companies, what changes are they making, so you can make the right moves and maybe move a little slower and more strategically than we did.
Absolutely. Yep.
Because we knew it was coming, we just didn't know how good it was going to be, and then we probably pulled the trigger too soon. So, so what we've done in the recently, or at least for sure for this year, we've really, we've tested a couple of new. We're going to new. Inspecting software, and we instead of just saying, hey, that looks great, let's just roll it out and scrap the old one, we decided to pilot it. So we used, since we are in 2 different markets, we picked one market and just said, hey, let this market, which is just one pod, pilot the inspecting software, let them work out all the kinks, let them, so it's only 4 or 5 people working on it, and then let them figure it out. Let's them figure out what's the best way to train and come up with all the training programs and everything up front before we roll it out to the whole team. So a little bit smarter.
Yeah. One question I have, because I think a lot of people might struggle with this, like, how do you know when to, implement something new, and I think it's because you have all these shiny objects going all the time, and, people are developing new things. They're like, man, like that looks really cool. That could benefit me from, inspections or maintenance platforms, whatever it is, right? But how do you know, okay, this is maybe not the right time right now, but maybe down the road?
I mean, you're asking me.
Because I think a lot of people struggle with that. They don't know where to start, and I think
number one is it's got to be I feel like it's got to be a major. It's going to make a major improvement or impact in your company before you make it. Can't be just there's smaller things that you want to just implement here and there. But if it's something that you're going to invest a significant amount of time, training, and money into it, it always takes it's a lot longer, and it takes a lot more training than you anticipate to fully get there.
I also think that, look at maybe some of the pain points that you're having in your business,
Correct.
right? I mean, are you getting more complaints over maintenance, whatever it is, right? And maybe start there to try to satisfy that.
Correct. So, I mean, it's got to remove several pain points, not just one. I think it's got to really make a game changer. It's got to, and it's got to save you. You got to get a return on it. So, meaning like if you're going to invest all this money, I feel like you got to get a return. So either it's going to improve it's going to help you drive more revenue to your company. So you're going to get an increase in revenue and a return on your money. I think, or it's going to improve your business operations to where you're going to have better, more efficient, better retention, and improve your business there. So it's got to make you money, I think, to invest in. So, I mean, something like we've always kind of tried to operate on a, for every dollar we invest, we try to get 2 back.
That's a great,
So, I mean, you got to kind of approach it with that mindset.
Yeah. And that's what I was getting at. Cause I think a lot of people struggle with how do you know, right?
Because sometimes they're just sticking to your old stuff that works. And if you do a great job, I mean, eventually you're going to have to innovate because your competition is innovating.
Right.
But sometimes just if something's working, don't always change it to the newest, hottest thing just because somebody else, if you're
came up with something else. Yeah.
It's working, then keep using it. But you got to get a good return. Talk more about that. So what have you seen so let's just talk about the industry that we're in, either real estate, plumbing, all that you're seeing that are disrupting the industry, that's changing the landscape, that's innovating. What are you seeing out there that's changing?
I mean, it's crazy. Like even thinking about like last year, right? Like there was just new things that are coming out, new technology, right? AI is a new thing. And that's kind of been the newest thing in our space that we've been really kind of playing around with and experiencing with. Yeah.
And luckily, so we chose the route of not trying to build, well, number one, we're part of a franchise, so we can't, but we weren't going to build a software to internally, because I think that's where people try to do too, is they build their own softwares. And softwares are so expensive and require so much money. And so unless you're a software company, and unless you're just you're a big Fortune 500 company or whatever, and you have the resources to build your own software, it's worked advantageous for us just to incorporate software companies that invest all that money, that raise the money, the capital, and then but you just got to find the right partner that is always constantly improving, that's moving the needle, so they're innovating as well. So like our property management software has adopted AI into it. So it's pretty cool. It comes up with the marketing language. So no longer do our leasing coordinators have to come up with what to say. They can just click AI, the button, and it just spits out the whole marketing, and it's really good. A lot of the emails and stuff like that, it incorporates AI into it. So we're adopting AI but also the softwares and the companies that we partner with
are adopting it as well. Yeah.
But yes, you're right. So I think softwares are dramatically changing and rapidly, tracking and all that. But to me, I would rather use a third party that invests all the time and money, and I just use their resources.
Right, absolutely, 100%. Focus on what you do best, right? And let the other companies focus on what they do best.
Correct. I think something that's like changing or disrupting is just the money that has come into the service industry space in the last, I don't know, whatever, it's been 5-10 years. Has really changed everything. So in property management, obviously a lot of people have got gobbled up or sold to private equity, and they're trying to get into businesses that have repeat income, and a source of income that's every month that keeps generating. So property management
company
was very attractive. They found out how hard it is to really manage property.
And you can't do it but all this technology stuff is great. Yeah. But that's not all. I mean, you can't 100% manage just off technology.
Correct. And where they've tried to be more profitable by bringing in technology into that space, and they've struggled. I think they're figuring it out.
Still have to have that human touch.
Right. They're also, private equity has really got into the home service based companies like plumbing companies and HVAC and all that, because it's
recurring.
it's recurring. It's something that people need, whether we're in a recession or not. And so you're seeing that space. It's been changing, and so which has caused the landscape to change because it's gotten way more competitive. The bid space for PPC has gotten more expensive. The recruiting, they can offer sometimes technicians and stuff like that a lot more money than we can, and so it's definitely changed. So I think how if you can't control those and you can't outspend or outplay those people that have raised millions of dollars as a small company, how can you differentiate yourself from those competitors now that the space is changing and the landscape has changed? How can you as a small business owner still make an impact and run a successful company, in your opinion?
In my opinion, going back to the basics, right? Yeah. Like outperforming them customer experience wise, right? Yeah. Doing the extra little things that they are not able to do. Yeah. Like, for example, in our company, we in property management, we require that our customer service advisors call our owners once a month, regardless of what's going on, good, bad, whatever it is, to check in, right? Mm-hmm. Because again, that's just nurturing that client, providing them that extra level of service that they wouldn't get with any other tech company.
Correct. And so we're not perfect at this either. I mean, it's just leveling up your level of service. And so we still make mistakes here and there, but it's a focus of ours in our company to level up our level of service that we're offering. And so
in every department, no matter what it is, maintenance, renewals, even our plumbing service, right? After every plumbing job that we do, you call the client to say, hey, how did this service go? Correct. Right.
But it's even from, we try to, like in the plumbing company, we have our 14 steps, it's stuff that you would, most people overlook, that it's focusing on your presentation, that you drive up, you're presentable, you're in presentable clothing, you wear booties, you put mats down so you don't dirty their home, you don't shake their hand because you don't know where your hand has been, and you hand them a business card, you have a name tag, you have badges, so you're professional, they know who you are, you're not just some guy off the street at Home Depot, it's a professional. So we're differentiating ourselves and providing that level of service.
Right.
And then the property management, it's so simple and yet it's so hard, but it's just
answering the phone. I mean, come on. Just picking up the phone.
To a quick email, even if you don't have the answer, just, hey, got it. I got your email. Let me respond. Let me get with my team. Let me get back to you by Friday, by noon, and I'll have an answer, and we'll see if we can resolve this issue. That's all that people want. Right. Or you just go the extra mile and just pick up the phone, call them, and then you follow up. So everything might have worked out, but then you follow up next week. Hey, was everything okay? Did everything go as smooth as we thought, or did that part get installed? Whatever. And they're like, wow, you really care.
Yes.
And that's
it right there. Yeah. You care. And I think that, and for a lot of the individuals that are listening to this show, they're like, man, well, that takes people, right? I don't have people on my team. It's just me and one man show to do that. I get that. But I mean, we've also been able to do it with virtual assistants, right? And we just put in more remote team members in place so that we can offer that level of service.
Correct.
Right.
So just, whether it be if somebody following up, they're great at doing the extra mile, following up on email. A lot of times it's just getting to your emails. If you got so many in your company, it's just you need somebody to respond to those emails.
Right.
Return the phone calls, follow-ups. It could be dispatching. It could be just confirming the appointment, and those steps that people care about. And yes, it can be done with virtual assistants.
Yeah.
But what we're talking about is just even as the landscape changes and it gets disrupted by technology and maybe private equity or larger money than bigger companies in our space, how you can stand out and be exceptional in your industry or in your market. It's just going back to the basics of just calling, providing service.
What got you to where you're at right now is most likely the basics. So going back to that.
Yeah. If you remember when you started out, why people went to you is because they liked you, right? They like to do business with Joni. They like to do business with Brett. They like to do business with Shawn. It wasn't necessarily the company. It was you, the individual, they like to do business with. And so if you can go back to how can I win those people over where they like me again and they trust me, that's usually how you can get that business.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I don't know.
And they will refer their friends and their family. So then you are getting raving fans, right? And that's what you want people that are going to refer people to you.
Correct. And so and that's who's going to give you your reviews and your Google reviews, which matter significantly in this market today.
I mean, we've got tons of reviews, and clients just call their back. I don't even need to talk to anybody because I see the reviews.
Correct. And
right.
So I mean, so make sure you're focusing on Google reviews because it really does matter, and does set you up to differentiate yourself from the competition.
That might be the next episode.
Is Google reviews how we're doing that? Yeah.
Oh, we're knocking it out of the park.
We've got a good team that that goes the extra mile, that provides that level of service, and then that aren't scared to ask for the Google
asking for it.
Yeah. So that's a good topic.
Not being afraid of the phone. Not being afraid to talk to people.
Yeah. So I hope that helps. I hope I hope you in your company, as you try to differentiate yourself from some of the bigger competition out there, or as your industry is being changed, that you can still thrive in a market like this. But
going back to the basics,
adopting a culture of change and grit, and not being scared to, when you need to make pivots or transformations within your company.
Absolutely.
Not be scared of change, adopt it, create that culture, and not be scared to pivot when you need to.
Take that action.
Sounds good?
Love it.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you all listening. Have a great week, and we'll see you all next time.
See you, everyone.
You've been listening to Inside the Wolf's Den, an entrepreneurial journey with Shawn and Joni Wolfswinkel. Tons of entrepreneurial podcasts are out there, talking. But Joni and Shawn are living it every single day. Their portfolio now includes many franchises and medium-sized businesses. We talk about the trials and motivators of successfully running a business. Join us again soon for another podcast. But until then, reach out on the website at InsideTheWolfsDen.com, on Facebook at Inside the Wolf's Den, on Instagram at Inside the Wolf Den. We'll see you again soon. This is Inside the Wolf's Den. We'll see you next time.